Another point I'd like to quickly raise, because it's speaking about the month of Ramadan. We have another issue, and that is the issue of the speed. Let's leave speed for when we drive motor vehicles. And then too, I'm coming from Singapore. You know, there's a very big difference between Malaysia and Singapore when it comes to, I think, generally breathing outside as well. Allahu Akbar. So if you go to Singapore, it's like you read the Riot Act, you know, to tell you, you breathe, you're going to be jailed. You exhale, you're going to be jailed. You eat, you're going to be jailed. You chew gum, you're going to be jailed. You throw anything out there, you're going to be jailed. You walk, you're going to be jailed. You talk, you're going to be jailed. Okay. Today I joked with one of the brothers and I said they should just put a big fence around the whole of Singapore. I said, guys, don't worry, you're in jail. Because it's a feeling you get, you're just looking everywhere. I wonder, who's supposed to tell on me if I'm chewing gum, for example? Who is it? This guy, that guy? Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. So what happens is, speeding, we're worried about speeding when it comes to motor vehicles. We slow down, because we know there's a trap here. In South Africa, mashallah, they have a very advanced system as well. You click and in 2 days' time you have, mashallah, everything arriving at your home with amount, and you have a little negative of the image of what's happening. You cannot deny anything and it's done. So we are so conscious about how we drive because we fear paying 1,000, 2,000 ringgits. So we will not speed because we're worried about the policeman. But Taraweeh, we speed at 500 kilometers an hour. Believe me. I've seen people who just come down, come back up, come. We should have speeding traps, I promise you. Say, if you go down into Rukur before a minute crosses, you're going to have to pay. And if you come back up before you've actually settled down in Rukur, you're going to pay. And if you complete your Taraweeh before so many minutes are up, you're going to pay. That's not the case in reality. But in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you complete your salah in a flash like this, you will not achieve what you're meant to be achieving by it, and you will not have helped yourself, and you may have earned the sin by disrespecting your Maker, by making it seem that you're doing Him a favor. Wallahi. Those who rush in salah, what do they think they want? Do you think Allah wants that salah? For what? Take your time, relax. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Allahu Akbar. Do you know what you've said? Allah has heard the one who has praised Him. We say, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Oh, our Rabb, we are praising You. So Allah hears the ones who praise Him, and immediately we say, oh Allah, we are praising You. Sometimes we don't even know what it means. We just say, Sami Allah. Wallahi, I'm honest with you, a lot of us are guilty, and sometimes even those who try to be conscious, once in a while, when you're in a rush. Why do you think the Prophet ﷺ says that, you know, there is a hadith, and obviously this hadith, there are a few narrations of it. One of them is a sweet narration, which they say is not extremely authentic, but the other one is a little bit more authentic than that. One says, إِذَا حَضَرَ الْعَشَاءُ وَالْعِشَاءَ فَقَدِّمُوا الْعَشَاءَ. I'm sure you might have heard that. If Isha Salah is ready and Asha, which means dinner, is also ready, then you have your dinner first and then you read your Salah. Now that is not a correct narration of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a more correct narration where he speaks about Salatul Maghrib and food coming together, and similar meaning where you would eat together, you would eat quickly and then read your Salah. The meaning of it is correct, because what we need to understand, if there is a beautiful dish out there prepared for us with an aroma and we are hungry, you will be insulting your Maker when you're eating. You give food preference over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're saying Allahu Akbar, and you're saying, I need to. If the Imam is delaying, you're going to think to yourself, hey man, my pie is getting cold there. And you know, you're just so, it's an anticlimax. You're actually in there and you really don't want to be there. It's like when you serve tea sometimes, I don't know, but sometimes when the tea gets very cold, it doesn't taste nice. Well, that's according to me. Some people have cold tea. And nowadays you have iced tea, for your information. So that's another topic going on. But if the tea, imagine if it's poured already, and then someone says, hang on, let's read Salah. And you're a person who loves hot tea. A cup of tea will be given preference over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you're going to be reading Salah in sajda, you're going to say Subhana Rabbil A'la less because you've got tea waiting for you. So rather, hang on a second, have your tea, perhaps you might burn yourself a bit, but you can then make dua, Allah grant me, ease in my mouth, I've already got a blister here because of my rush for the tea. That's better than having compromised your salah. Better to have had that blister. And we're not saying take your time. Some people say, no, salah, we'll read it later, so let's have a meal. And now you're enjoying a luscious meal. 1-2 hours later, you say, right, let's get up for salah. No. You have a little bit, which means, whatever your desires were very clung to at that particular time. And then, mashallah, you engage in your salah, you fulfill your salah. So, why I say this is the point of speed, especially when it comes to Taraweeh. I know one uncle, his memory wasn't strong, so when he used to lead the salah, he used to lead as Imam, he didn't used to know how many rak'at am I reading. So he used to keep 10 coins in his pocket. After every 2 rak'at, he put 1 coin on the side. And there they read 20 rak'at. So what happens? After that he puts another coin. And then he knows that people would look at the coins, how many coins are there? Oh, there's 8. 8 coins, that means there's just 4 rak'at left. Wow, it's like going downhill. And do you notice, I don't know if you notice, I notice it. When you're reading Taraweeh and the Quran is being recited, sometimes the last rak'at seem longer than the first. Because the first ones you're still energetic and you're standing, before you know it you're already down in ruku'. And sometimes what happens, as you get to the later rak'at of the evening, it seems like it's stretching and it's going longer because now you're getting tired. And you're getting, so what I do, we play a psychological game with the musallis. The first few must be long. And after that downhill, nobody feels it. Because after that, you cut it short. And I even tell some of the imams to do the same thing. Try it out. Let your first few rak'at be quite long. Because people are still energetic psychologically. Another point is, when you read melodiously, without raising your voice, without getting tired yourself, the people behind you do not get as tired. You need to know that. And then when you have a sound system like this one, I think this is fit to be in a huge masjid. Beautiful sound system, you feel like sitting, listening. Right now I'm talking, I feel like talking to you. Because I'm not straining myself, and at the same time, I'm sure you can hear every word, because it's very clear. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant acceptance to all.
Praise the right people, say good words to them, it will solve most of your problems. Utter the good words, and protect your tongue from saying sweet words to those whom those words are going to pierce their hearts, and they are not going to be able to do anything halal about it. Remember what I've said. What's the point of going to someone whom you know already that you've already got your quota of 4 wives, mashallah. So you're sitting and you're happy. And you go to someone else and you tell them, oh, I love you, you're so beautiful, you're so nice. And oh, wow, nobody's told me that before. Wow, so lovely and so on. Is there any form of halal outcome of those statements? They said, today we went and we were told to come out and utter good words. So my darling, here's the best of words. Oh, you're gorgeous and so on. Believe me, who are you talking to? If you are uttering those beautiful words to a person whom they will be processed through in a way that they will want to do something about it which will never be halal, in that case we are sinning. Remember that. Like the man, they say the one man, and this is also a story that I've heard very recently. His wife tells him, listen, you know what, you have to tell me, you have to swear that you're going to be honest with me. He says, okay, I'm honest. Describe your love for me. So the man says, he thinks for a moment and he says, you know what? You are like my SIM card, I'm like the phone, Without you, I'm nothing. You know that. Wow. So the woman goes back so happy and delighted. Wow, I'm so happy. It's the sweetest, most romantic thing I've ever heard. Imagine, without a SIM card, what is a phone? How many of us have phones? No SIM card. Can you have a phone, no SIM card? You have a SIM card. So then he walks out, and as he's walking out, he says, and she's saying, wow, most romantic word I've ever heard. He says, she doesn't know my phone has a quad SIM. Allah protect us. What a dirty mind. What a dirty mind. But this is the problem with us today. We want to utter words that just soothe people's minds when we don't really mean them sometimes. Why would he have spoken about a dual sum or a quad sum if he was sincere? He wouldn't even have uttered that. May Allah protect us. So the reason I raise this is, I know some of the brothers are nudging each other to say there is a quad sum in the market, you know that? And believe me, there is. If you Google it, you'll see it on Google Images now. You just have to Google the word quad sim on Google Image and you'll see the phone. It's available. But that does not make the relationship any better. We need to know that when you say beautiful words, you need to make sure that you are uttering them to the right person. And you need to make sure you are not being hypocritical by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For your spouse, it's an act of worship to utter words to make them smile, to make them feel desired, to make them feel they are the most important people in the world. There will come a time when you too will feel that definitely they are the most important people in this world.
Alhamdulillah, as I was saying at the beginning, that if we are given an opportunity sometimes to send an email and we don't get a reply, you don't get agitated. If it's very important, you ask another scholar in your midst. You go to the masjid, go around and say, look, I really need to know what to do. It's very urgent. And sometimes you may get a response, and alhamdulillah, but do not be irritated with scholars when they have not replied, because sometimes you don't know the circumstances surrounding their day, you know. So for me, there might be people right now swearing me on email saying, you know, you're very arrogant, you don't reply, you don't even acknowledge. But I'm busy sitting with important people here. To me, there are VIPs sitting in front of me, and it would be wrong for me to actually fiddle with my phone. Last night I was sitting and fiddling with my phone in the presence of 1-2 people, and I told them, this is not the right thing to be doing, but there is something that has just happened now which I'm dealing with. So brothers and sisters, the same applies to Facebook. Like I was saying, the last time I think I explained to you how we came about using that particular page that is on Facebook today. It was not my idea, not at all. It was the idea of someone who did it with a different reason altogether. And it happened that we managed to get it off this person, and we learned how to use it, and we will only use it for a good message. The other day I sent a tweet with a big laugh in it, and some people got excited about it, saying, hey, you're a scholar of Islam, you're not supposed to be laughing. I don't know if you noticed that. Some people got excited. They said, you're a scholar of Islam, you must strip yourself of the title if you want to laugh out loud. I mean, what's wrong? Are we not human beings? We're not allowed to laugh? What is it? So this is something foolish. In fact, it shows how small-minded people are. And I think if someone who was a scholar pretended like he was not a human being, he's a fool himself. Because wallahi, we are human beings. And this is why I hate it when people want to respect you to the degree of worship. Oh, I cannot tolerate that. Believe me, you know, they want to make a big deal out of the person you are. No, we are ordinary human beings. And whilst we do not like being worshipped, and wallahi, it's a fact. You know, this is why today when we greet, you just greet with the hand and that's it. No hugging and so on. No, relax. Greet with the hand. And I was actually saying, if you would like to take photographs, it's not going to be possible. So many people taking a photo. There is a big poster out there. We've kept it life size, you know, so you can stand next to it, take a picture, say I was there, you know. I was there. So we ask Allah to grant us easy. We need to know it's not easy. You know, I was in Sri Lanka a few days ago, 3-4 days ago, and thousands of people. Who do you please? What do you do? How many do you greet? How long? You know, every time I would go to a masjid, when I was leading Salah in Cape Town, you would take 45 minutes to come out. So why must I be sentenced to a 45-minute term when everyone else is gone out and they've gone home, and I come out to the car park and I see my only car is there. That's it. I think to myself, even the sheikh with the key is gone home to have a quick bite to come back after a while to lock up, because he knows the sheikh is going to be too long. So it's not fair on a scholar. You need to be considerate. And with different people are different. Some scholars might come to you, they can give you a lecture morning, afternoon, evening and night. 4 lectures a day, excellent. Some have a weak immune system. Some are not that, you know, should I say, they require rest. They might not be that healthy and so on. A person like me, there are 2-3 things you need to remember. The shorter the visit, the more likely for it to happen. The longer you request. I've got emails, thousands of emails, where they say, we'd like you to come here for 1 week. We'd like you to come here for 2 weeks. If I had to respond to that, I wouldn't even be able to live, to be honest. But someone says, we have 1 talk, we'd like you to come for. Not a problem. We may be able to squeeze it into the itinerary. Another thing for me personally, offer me food and I will really reluctantly come through. When I say that, I mean if it's the normal meal you're having and you perhaps have to, I'm a last minute man. I'll tell you in the morning, I'll come to your place this evening perhaps, you know. It's a last minute thing. That's the type of person I am, because if you let someone know in advance, it becomes too big and then you become a person who's, you know, more of a celebrity. No, no, no. The message is important when it comes to persons of Deen and Islam. Not to meet the person, that's not important. The message is important. If you think it's more important to meet someone than the message itself, you've lost the plot. Believe me, lost the plot totally. Because what is the point of meeting and saying, oh this, and yet your life hasn't changed. Nothing has even inched forth in your heart this way or that way. That's a waste of time. So we need to make sure that we change. We need to make sure we've learned. This is why Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if meeting him was important, he would have been given eternal life. If meeting him was important, he would be in our midst today. But following his message is even better than having met him. Better than that. You have Sahaba radiallahu anhum, mashallah, they were chosen, they have a rank. But we will meet him in the akhirah by the will of Allah. He will recognize us by the mere fact that we used to follow what he taught. So remember this, it's not possible sometimes, even when it comes to scholars. Like I was saying, if you invite me for food, to me food is not important. You know, this morning I was feeling a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, maybe perhaps full. And one of the reasons is the word that I learned here called makan. Makan, makan, makan. Wherever you go, makan. I used to think makan means a place. It doesn't mean a place. It means you need place for food. Allahu Akbar. Food. Everything is food. You go here, food. You go here, sandwiches. You go there, biscuits. You go there, tea. You go here, something else. Allahu Akbar. Ya akhi, Allah. You know, we're not used to this type of hospitality which takes you to hospital. Another very important issue is, yes, I also have a family. You need to know this. So sometimes people, you know, they expect you to be here and there, but I have children. My children, I try and spend maximum time with them. They are sitting here with you today. And mashallah, I really appreciate the fact that they too need to bear much patience sometimes. And sometimes bear patience with irritant people. Some people irritate, you know. Someone wants to get hold of you and they'll phone 50 times and they start giving your family a mouthful to say, who do you think you are? What do you think? But hang on, the man is not here. Are you sure he's not there? Do you think I'm a liar? It happens. You know, what's the problem? Maybe you don't want me to talk to him. No, don't speak that way. This is the su'udhan, the bad perception I spoke about moments ago that will eradicate chances of entering paradise. Take that out of your heart. Take it at face value. If they were lying, the sin is theirs. But if you stop believing them, the sin is now yours. Because why? What evidence do you have? And another thing is, big deal. Maybe they don't want to talk to you. So, Allahu Akbar. Yes. It's like, you know, some people who owe you money, when you call them, they don't want to answer sometimes. And sometimes what happens is, we've seen this happening, when the knock is heard on the door, the father tells the son, go and tell them I'm not here. So the son goes to the door and opens the door. Is your dad here? He says, he told me to tell you that he's not here. They sell the story, you see. So it happens. And as I was saying, we need to be considerate of that. And at the same time, all of us need to spend maximum time with our children, because sometimes whilst trying to save the world, we lose our own family. Remember this. Whilst trying to save the world, you lose your own family. I've always said, and I'm sure you've heard, I've always said, what is the point of going out of your way to be kind to people around you when you are brutal in your own home? What's the point?
Kindness begins at home. Charity begins at home. خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ. The best from amongst you are those best to their family members. What's the point? So nice to others. And I watch sometimes. You know, you go to a public place. That's another thing. You know, I also would go into a mall. You might find me strolling a mall. And I don't like big issues and publicity. No, you go into a mall. You might want to buy something. You might have to go here or there. You might take your children on an outing somewhere. You might find me also, perhaps, maybe, although I don't really like to go out and outings, and I'm not an outdoor person, but I have to make myself like it, because I have children who would need that as part of their upbringing. Remember, so if you find me at the zoo, not necessarily because I love animals, and definitely not because I believe in reincarnation. Obviously we don't. But at the same time, it would be because of the children. And then, you know, some people say, oh, you know, we saw this guy at the mall, astaghfirullah. Come on, you're a human being, you've got to go there, you know. And this is why we say, brothers and sisters, when we go to public places, sometimes we notice how people who are Muslims, they operate with persons of the opposite sex in a way that they are so kind, they smile, they are really beautiful people to others who are strange on the street, just because someone looks nice, and just because, you know, they happen to have had enough makeup on the face at that particular time, and they're so kind, and the minute they turn to their families, they are like lions. Wallahi, we see it happening. That is very unfair. That is hypocrisy of the highest order that needs to be changed. Needs to be changed. Like we said, you'll never get whatever you want, how you want it in this world. Never ever. It's never promised. There's no verse in the Quran or no hadith which tells you that you will get what you want in this world if you are a believer. Not one verse. Not even a hint. The only thing is, you will be content with what Allah has chosen for you if you're a believer. Content meaning, alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. We thank Allah on all conditions. That is it.